All right, welcome back. I am coming to you today from Koh Lanta, Thailand. Give you a little bit of a view of where I'm at today. This is my little workspace here. And then this is a nice view, a little fishing village. It's awesome. The water comes up like underneath the deck here. It feels like we're just on the water, which is pretty cool. And better lighting today too than my last place. So you can see me a little better. All right, so let's dive in today. I'm gonna try something I hope it works well, and I hope that this is actually helpful for you. But I wanted to do a sample business where we just go through and we do a brain dump of ingredients for this business, just to give you an idea of how I do it and how my mind works, and really what I'm expecting for you to do. You might have a different process. Everyone has a different way of getting all of the components down, but that really is the intent, is how can you have your mind be prepared to dump all of the ingredients and organize them in some way. And it doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to be down on paper where you can share it. That way you can dive into those and we can start going into KPIs, critical drivers, SOPs, assigning those, etc. But we just have to know what they are first of all. So typically this process for my past businesses honestly takes between 2 hours to like a whole day to just thinking about it. I'm going to try to do this in a few minutes with you guys. So I'm going to leave a lot out. I'm sure I am. I'm not the fastest thinker, but so this may actually be good to watch on double speed, but I'm going to do my best for you guys. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And I actually have an idea of a business that I want to do. One of the businesses I did in the past was a food truck. I wasn't in it very long. I was only in it for 6 months. And so I'm pretty familiar with it, but it's been a while. And so this was something that hopefully I'll be able to get some things off pretty quickly, but also won't be so many things it'll overwhelm you. Okay, so let me go ahead and let's do a food truck. Let's have this one actually be a traveling food truck, just for a little bit more complexity. So the first thing that I like to do is I like to think of the flow of the revenue streams of the business. In other words, what are the services or the products that you're offering, and what has to happen in order to fulfill on that service or product? So, for example, with a food truck, we need to know what our menu is. Once we know what the menu is, we need to go buy ingredients. We need to prep the food. We need to then we need to secure a spot. We need to advertise that spot. Advertise the spot. We need to transport the food truck. We need to cook the food. We need to collect money. We need to deliver the food. And that's essentially it. I like to build momentum in businesses, and so I always try to have something in there that can make it a little bit more potent the next time that I do this process. And in this case, in the food truck world, that would be collecting a review. And so think of that for your business too. All right, so now that I have a flow, and just so you know, typically I would do this on like a big whiteboard. That's the way that I work. I kind of like that 3D component rather than the straight up and down component of a Word doc, but it's totally up to you. If I had that flow going out sideways, then what I would do is I'd go through this flow, and above and below, I'd write down all of the ingredients that come to mind, and then I'd bulk them together. On a Word doc, I'm going to do a little bit different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by listing out my departments, and that will hopefully help me figure out what I need. So I know that I'm going to have marketing needs, I have operations, finance. Oh, this is cool. Check this out. This guy's getting ready to go out on his boat. It's high tide right now. Sometimes there's no water underneath us. Okay, let me get back into this. Marketing, operations, finance, say we're gonna have HR hire a couple people to do this. We're gonna have some setup needs here. And yeah, let's go with that for now, because that's all I'm thinking of. I'm sure there's more, but I'm trying to make it so you're not just watching an hour video of me thinking. So with marketing components, now comes the brain dump. I've gone through, I've reviewed the flow, I've organized, I'm trying to bulk my thoughts, so I'm thinking down the right path. Now comes the brain dump. And this is literally in no order, me just brain dumping what's needed for this business to fulfill the flow. Okay, so I know that I need I know I need social media. I know that I need some sort of agent or a caller to secure the spot. Because in the food truck world, if you're traveling, you need to know what business you're going to, what food truck rally you're going to, etc. Don't get bogged down when you're going through these. It's going to be so tempting to be like, oh, well, who is that going to be? How are they going to do it? You know, like, what does success look like for that? This is not the time to do that. This is the time to just brain dump. That's it. It might be you that's calling. You might be your own agent. You might hire someone to do it. You might have some food truck rally app that, you know, can organize your food truck for the entire month ahead of time and do your social media for you. Now's not the time to think of that stuff. It's just to brain dump what is needed. Okay. Let's see, what else do we need for marketing? We need advertise the spot, transport, cook. We need like probably Google My Business to collect reviews. We could do all sorts of things. We could do text campaigns. We could do email campaigns. I'm going to keep this simple for now. I'm just going to move on. Okay. Operations. First thing that comes to mind, we need to know where the ingredients, what the ingredients are for the menu. First, we need to know, what does our menu actually look like? Menu solidified. What is our menu? What are the ingredients for the menu? What is the recipe book for the menu items? What is the packaging for the food? What is our point of sale processor? So how are we collecting money? Are we doing Venmo? Are we collecting credit card? Or are we taking cash, etc.? What is our red line? Red line is an inventory term that means once the inventory gets to a certain point, that's when you need to order more. So in food, once you have less than X tomatoes, you need to go get X more tomatoes and maintain that red line. So in another industry like pest control, for example, if you are working with bifenthrin, which is a pesticide, once you get down to a certain number of bottles of pesticide, that's when you need to order more. Typically, ordering process isn't instantaneous. You can't teleport product or material across the world, and needs a certain amount of time to make sure that you never run out. So that's the red line there. We also need to know, what is our expiration requirements protocol? What do we do when food goes bad, right? Let's see, what else do we need for operations? We need to know what our maintenance for the truck is. How often do we clean it, etc. All right, I'm gonna move on. I'm sure I'll come back to do a bunch of things here. Finance, I use QuickBooks. We need to get QuickBooks set up. We need to have general ledger. We need to have our balance sheet all set up. We need to be able to maybe job cost, maybe not. Job costing is essentially, if you're doing a food truck for a certain lunch, how profitable are you for that lunch, versus not job costing is you're taking a time frame. How much money did we make over a course of a month, for example? So job costing is really getting specific. Yeah, let's say no. to job costing for this. HR, we're gonna need our W-2. We're gonna need a way to do payroll tax. We're gonna need a way to process payroll. And we're gonna need a way to file HR information. Setup, we're gonna need to get an entity set up, bank account. We're gonna need, let's say we don't need a credit card. We're just gonna work on profits. We're gonna need permits. Probably gonna have to work with the health department, etc. Okay, for the sake of not boring you to death, what I would do is I would go back through the flow again, probably honestly 6 or 7 times, and just continue adding to marketing and operations based on the now. What do I need to fulfill right now, the flow? After I do that, and I feel like I literally cannot think of anything else, then what I'm gonna do, and I'll do this too, is I'm gonna take it beyond my current flow needs, and I'm gonna look at if I like do super well with this, then what can I start doing beyond the needs? And that's like in social media, for example, where it's like, if this starts doing really well and we're hitting our profit margins, we're hitting our KPIs on the needs, then what can we start doing? Well, let's do a texting campaign. That would be awesome. Let's do an email campaign. Let's start advertising on Facebook. Probably, honestly, wouldn't do pay-per-click, right? Maybe we would look at franchising options, etc. Right? And then what I go through, I would, on the whiteboard, I do this in a different color, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it in green. Green sounds better than red, which I almost picked. Operation, anyway, I'm going to skip this, but finance, we're gonna need a CPA. We're probably gonna need a bookkeeper. We're probably going to start needing to job cost. We're probably going to need to divide our finances by several food trucks, right? Maybe we open a restaurant location, etc. I want you to then put this different color is putting yourself in the future a little bit and going back through this and saying, okay, I don't need this right now, but I'm guessing I will need this in the future. And the future isn't 10 years in the future. It's somewhere within the next 1 to 6 quarters. So the next 3 months to 1.5 years out is where you really want to start thinking about. Am I going to need to hire more people? Am I going to have to find a recruiter? Am I going to have to plan on leasing my trucks instead of buying a truck? Am I going to wrap my vehicles? Blah, 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 right? When it comes to a traveling food truck. Once you do that, that is it. That's it. Like, you don't need to do anything else for system. It's literally just the brain dump. So that said, go ahead and do this. Keep it. Let me review it or have someone review it with you. Take it to other people in your business. Have a meeting about this. Have this on file because you will need to reference this often to get your business fully organized. Now, what we're going to do in this whole next section is we're going to start diving into each and every single component of your business and determine, okay, if you do need this, this is a need, what is the goal behind it? Okay, what needs to happen every day in order to achieve that goal? Do we have that documented, that this is our process? Okay, now that we have it documented, who's in charge of that? Do we have the data to know if we're actually doing it correctly, etc.? That's the process that we're going to go through. But first, just do the brain dump and then contact me and let me know when you're done. I'm excited to review it with you. See you guys later.